Hi students, here is our very first videotape lesson. So ideally you would have this worksheet printed out, or you can just have it up on your computer next to you. You actually don't have to have it printed out, but the examples I'm going to do are going to be from that worksheet. So this topic here is point slope form of a line. So I just want to remind you the sheet doesn't have the actual formula on it. But I want to remind you that the formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So if you remember, x1, y1, that's a point on the line. And m is the slope. So if we're asked to write an equation that passes through -1, 4 and has m equal to 4, they want us basically to take these values and put them into the formula. So this is going to be x1 and this is going to be y1. And then m is 4. So if I want to take this formula, I'm going to say y minus y1, which in this case is 4, equals m, which is 4, times x minus x1. Now remember, if you remember, it's a little tricky here. Even though that says y minus 4, it actually means that y1 is positive 4. So if x is -1, it's actually going to say x plus 1. That's a little bit confusing. Okay, so that is the point, that's the line in point slope form. Let's try one more. If I have here x1, here's my x1 and here's my y1, and what's a little weird about this one is that the slope is 0. So if I want to take x1, y1 and put them in and the slope, I would have y, and then notice that says -2, so that's going to be y plus 2. Our slope here is 0, and this is going to be x minus 4. Now we can leave it like that, or if you want to, you can say, oh look, if I have 0 times x minus 4, that's just equal to 0. So I have y plus 2 equals 0, which gives me, if I subtract 2 from each side, it gives me y equals -2. So those are problems 2 and 4. Now they were nice here, and they gave us x1, y1, and they gave us the slope. But let's look at problem number 5. And we're going to see it's a little trickier. On problem number 5, they just give us 2 points. They say that the line passes through, and then they give us 2 points. -4, 6 and -2, 5. So the first thing we have to do is we have to actually find the slope. So the slope, if I want the formula for the slope, it's equal to m, which is our slope, y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So let's label these points, x1, y1, and let me do it down here, x2, y2. So let's find our slope. Now I find it easier if I put parentheses in there, because if I have minus a negative, it can be kind of confusing. So let's look at what we have. y2, which is 5, minus y1, which is 6, x2, which is -2, minus x1, which is -4. Okay, I have to be really careful here, because look at that right there. That's minus minus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those pluses. So if I have 5 minus 6, which is -1 on the top, and on the bottom I have -2 plus 4, which gives me 2. So there's my slope. Now the cool thing is, this is m, I can use either point to put in my point slope form. Let's just use this one since we already labeled it x1, y1. So if I want to put that into my equation, I found my slope. So if I have x1 and y1, I can say y minus 6 equals -1/2 times x, and then notice, remember that minus thing, plus 4. So there's my equation right there. Right, so in that case I needed to find the slope, which is a little bit harder. Okay guys, so I want to do at least one or two of each of the sections. Problem number 7. Sorry, I'm going to have to erase. I only have one board, not like school. Okay guys, problem number 7, they give you the equation and they ask you to find the slope and a point on the line. So problem number 7 looks like this. It says y plus 2 equals 2/3 times x minus 4. So if I look up here, guys, the slope is this number in front of the x parentheses. So my slope is going to be 2/3. And my point, remember we've actually done something very similar, x1 comma y1, well that says x minus 4, but we know that the point is going to be positive 4, and that says y plus 2, but it means that the y coordinate is negative 2. So it's a little bit confusing there. Let's also do number 10. Now the good thing is you guys can pause and re-watch this if you don't want to go at the pace I'm going at, which I know is a little quick. Okay guys, again I'm going to look at my slope right here. The slope is the number in front of the parentheses. Now what's a little interesting is there's nothing where y1 is. So what that means is that actually y1 is 0. And x1, that says x plus 3, so that means that the x coordinate is negative 3. So here, if there's nothing there, it means the coordinate is 0. Okay guys, turn the page over, and now this is our last thing we're going to do. We're going to do a couple graphs. So here they want us to graph this equation right here, graph. This is number 13. Y plus 2 equals 1/3 times x plus 1. So we want to do just what we did in the last section. We want to identify the slope, which is 1/3. And if you remember, slope is rise over run. Right? And we want to do the point that they give us here. Remember, the plus means negative. -1 comma, and then that's also a negative, -2. So let's sketch the graph. What we're going to do is we're going to graph the point first. And then all we need is one more point. So if I graph -1 over to the left 1, down 2, all I need is one more point. I can find that by doing rise, which is up 1, and then over to the right, which is +3, and there is my line. Okay guys, let's try one more, and then I think that'll be it. What if I want to graph y plus 1, this is number 14 by the way, y plus 1, and then my slope in this one is -1/2, and I've got x minus 3. So in this case, what's our slope? Well, our slope here is the number in front of the parentheses, so it's -1/2. And the point on the graph is going to be +3, -1. So let's graph our point, +3, -1. +3, -1. And then our slope is -1 over +2. So I have a few choices. I could go down 1 and then to the right 2. I get to choose where I want the negative. So I could make it -1/2, or I could make it 1/-2, which would mean I would go up 1 to the left 2. And notice that's going to give me, sorry I don't have a ruler, my same line. And notice the line is going downhill because the slope is negative. Okay guys, the rest of the problems are for you to do. I miss you guys, and I will see you next time.